Governor, this is an enormous package of measures, one of the biggest in the bank's history. What do you want to achieve by it?
Well, what we want to do is, in a timely fashion and comprehensive fashion, to support the adjustment that this economy is going through. We're going to have a new relationship with Europe, ultimately new relationships with the rest of the world. That naturally brings a period of uncertainty. Some businesses are holding back, maybe some households are holding back on purchases. We want to provide some stimulus to this economy.
You want to get people spending?
Well, we want people to spend and invest in smart ways, and we're providing stimulus, we think, in a smart way, in a way that reaches through the financial system and goes directly to businesses and households. So we don't want this lost rattling around the City of London, so we've designed it very carefully in order to avoid that. We've used all the powers and insights of the Bank of England to do that. So this is about supporting the adjustment at a period when, growth has slowed.
The question is, you've thrown everything at it that you possibly can. Well, almost everything.
We haven't thrown everything at it.
Well, you could, I suppose, reduce the interest rates to zero. Is that a real possibility? Or even go further, negative?
Well, first thing on negative, not a fan of negative interest rates. What we have said is that we think interest rates could go lower. They could get close to zero, but to a positive number. So people shouldn't have that concern that all of a sudden interest rates are going to go negative. So we could lower it a bit, and that would provide a bit more stimulus if that were appropriate. But we could do other things on all the other elements of the package.
If you are on a low income at the moment, if you're worried about paying your bills, if you're worried you're going to be able to hang on to your job, you have a right to feel really concerned at the moment.
Well, and that's exactly what we worry about. And if you're worried about those things, you should feel a bit better today.
Really?
Yeah, because the Bank of England has acted. We've acted now. We haven't waited until these effects fully manifest. We haven't waited until a bunch of people have lost their jobs. Hundreds of thousands of people have lost their jobs.
I know, and you must feel that personally.
We do feel that responsibility. And so we've looked to provide the stimulus, building on other measures that we've taken, in order to minimize the effect of this adjustment, this necessary adjustment in the economy.
And your advice to our viewers who may be relying on their savings, may be worried about their job, may be worried about paying those bills, what would it be today?
My advice is that those risks have been diminished by the actions of the Bank of England.
You said this would happen if there was a vote to leave the EU. You were accused of doom-mongering. Were you right? Well, it's clear that we said as a committee that we felt that if the vote were to leave, that there would be a period where growth was materially lower and inflation somewhat higher. The forecast we've just put out today is that growth is materially lower, inflation somewhat higher. But it's not just the forecast. You see it with businesses, you see it with consumer confidence, you see it with other indicators. That is what's happening. Now, will we get a recession?
Our view is that we are going to have growth, small positive growth in the second half of this year and gradually picking up from there. So our central view is no. What we've done today makes it less likely.
Governor, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sean.